Hello everyone, my name is Jason Parker and welcome back to this channel about magic. In this special video, I want to talk all about the beginning of Penn Teller's Fool Us, Season 1, Episode 1. As you may already know, I finished making reactions for the latest season of Penn Teller's Fool Us, Season 6, 2019. But what maybe you don't know is that for the most part, I haven't watched Seasons 1 through 5. So I thought it'd be fun to go all the way back to the beginning, Season 1, Episode 1, and start making some reactions. But it also brings to mind the question, what has changed since then? The first season aired in 2011, 9 years ago. What was it like back then and how has it changed? And in order to answer that question, you and I are gonna watch the beginning of the first season, first episode together. Are you ready? Good. Also, I did a little bit of research and found out that Season 1 aired back in 2011 on a British television network. That was surprising to me because I always thought this was an American TV show and, you know, Penn and Teller are American magicians. But yeah, Season 1 was in Britain, filmed in London, and it was canceled. It did not get renewed for Season 2. 4 years passed, and then in 2015, it was renewed by an American television network, the CW. And from 2015, Season 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they were all filmed in Las Vegas. One season every single year. By the way, it's been announced there will be a Season 7 next year, so we can all look forward to that as well. One other difference you're gonna notice right off the bat is there's no Allison at the beginning. Apparently for the first 2 seasons, they had a different host named Jonathan Ross. I don't know much about him. Maybe if you were watching more British TV, you would already know who he is. Jonathan Ross, an English television and radio presenter, film critic, actor, and comedian. Sounds like he's been around the block. Anyway, with that being said, let's just go ahead and watch the very beginning of the first episode, see how they describe the premise and everything, and see what's different. See how it was in 2011. Side note, my AirPods are out of commission, so back to the old wired solution. I apologize. I know this deeply affects your viewing experience, but sometimes that's how life is. All right, so there we go. We've got some different animations. The same theme music. And the exact same branding and logo. That's like, I believe, exactly the same as the more recent seasons. Proceeding.
And here's TV's very own Mr. Magic, Jonathan Ross.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone, and welcome to what I promise will be, but for both the audience here and everyone watching at home, a truly magical night. You know, I've always loved magic. When I was a little kid, I used to be enchanted by my granddad. He would ask me for a coin, like 10p or something, and he would just make it vanish into thin air. He was a wonderful magician. Also, unfortunately, a thief, because never got it back. We have assembled the cream of the conjuring community of this country, and I'm amazed I got through that sentence without getting it. We're going to show you more magic than a Hogwarts assembly. And think of me, if you will, as an immaculately suited, ravishingly handsome Dumbledore. Or don't. OK.
Wow, this guy's quite the comedian, huh? Jonathan Ross. It's almost like a stand-up routine. He's like opening for Penn and Teller. And I guess that's quite a different feel than the current host, Allison. She seems to me more of like a pleasant facilitator who gets the show moving. But right here, right now, I feel like I'm watching an opening performance. Interesting differences. I have to say I'm kind of enjoying his comedy right now, but maybe they decided to change things later just to put more focus on the magic. I don't know. These are just my thoughts so far. Let's go ahead.
All are masters of their art, and they're here to try and fool the men who have been headlining Las Vegas for the last 10 years. Penn and Teller. In fact, the only thing bigger than them in Vegas is the city's electricity bill. Now, I'm a huge fan of them. I hope you guys will. Before they come up on stage, look at this.
Hey, welcome to Vegas. My name is Penn Gillette. This is my partner, Teller. We're Penn and Teller. And we have been working together doing magic for our entire adult lives. We've been settled down here at the Rio in Las Vegas for about 10 years. Drop! We are over in Britain hoping that somebody or many people will be able to fool us. Will be able to do tricks that we don't know how they're done. We have to figure out how they did the trick, seeing it once. And seeing it once from just the angle we have in the audience. We're not watching monitors, we don't have sneaky camera shots, we don't have any information in advance. It's just us sitting there, you come on, and you fool us. And if you can't, go home.
It's interesting seeing how much different they look. I mean, obviously it's 2019 now, and this was 2011, so of course people will change over time. But just looking at such a, an 8-year difference, it jumps out to me. Also, I like the fact that they're really establishing the whole premise of the show, the rules, the concept, so it's nice.
If you can, come to Vegas. If someone fools us, they will get all their expenses paid, everything, fly over to Las Vegas with us. We'll put them up and we'll give them our stage to be able to do their tricks. Everybody who comes on the show tonight is going to be very, very brave. It's really tough to do a trick for someone who might actually tell you what they think afterwards. This show just about getting back that first feeling that we got when we were 5 years old and first saw someone vanish something in their hand like that. That's a beautiful, wonderful feeling, and we want it again. So, fool us.
Makes sense.
They've been performing together for 35 years. It's incredible. It's longer than most marriages, but like all successful marriages, the reason it works, I think, is that one doesn't allow the other one to speak. Here they are. It's the two, the only, Penn and Teller. Gentlemen, Mr. Teller, Mr. Penn. How you doing? Great to see you both here. Everyone here is excited. I know I'm excited. I know you're excited as well, because genuinely, you would like to actually be fooled, wouldn't you?
Yes, it's not a competition. We just want to... The reason you get into magic is there's no better feeling than being fooled. And then the longer you work in magic, the harder it is to be fooled.
So you're going to watch it just the once here?
Just once, yeah.
No camera trickery, no editing, nothing like that. What you see at home is exactly what Penn and Teller see, what everyone here in the audience sees, and you're going to try and work out if you know how they do it.
And we'll do our best to try to figure it out.
You're not going to tell us exactly how it's done, though. I guess you'll use the language of the trade. You'll give us enough information to make sure we know, they know, you know, that they know, and we will then know you know what they have done without us knowing.
We'll do whatever the hell we want.
Yeah. Before we get on with the show, some people may not have had the experience of seeing Penn and Teller perform live before. So now, to show you, they're very much at the very top of the tree. Penn and Teller, ladies and gentlemen.
We'll do our best. We'll do our best.
Did you like Teller's expression there? He's like, they're very much at the top of the tree, and Teller's like... Anyway, it's interesting to see that the whole concept of the show was really there from the very beginning. It hasn't changed that much. And it's interesting that at 4 minutes, 42 seconds into the video, they actually haven't shown any other magicians yet. They're just setting up the concept of the show, talking about who Penn and Teller are, and now we're actually even going to see Penn and Teller perform first. At least on all the shows I've seen for season 6, Penn and Teller would perform at the very end after all the other magicians. But this being the pilot, I guess they want people to understand what they're about, right? And one more thing about this host, this Jonathan Ross guy, he really seems like a very dominant stage presence. He's very quick-witted. That was almost a snap. He's very quick-witted, has a good energy level, and he's kind of bantering back and forth with Penn and Teller. I think it's funny, I think it's entertaining. It's just another one of those differences between the more recent seasons and the first one. Anyways, I guess we're going to watch a magic performance now with Penn and Teller. Let's see what they've got.
Before we actually get going, could we ask you one small favor? Please take out your cell phones, your mobile phones, and turn them on. And turn the ringers up full. We want you all loud and connected. Hold it up just like this. Because we're going to pick one person from the audience to bring their cell phone on stage and video this first trick from an...
What kind of phones were most common in 2011? Did iPhones exist back then? Ah, yes, it was the iPhone 4S. And in fact, I saw one of the people in the audience holding up some kind of sliding kind of flip phone. You really don't see that kind of stuff as much anymore. Anyways, back to the performance.
Angle that will show that person how it's done. So if you have a mobile phone and you know how to use it, just hold it up just like this. We're going to find someone that has that. And we want to give you a promise. We all have personal information on our cell phones. We want to promise you we won't monkey with any of that. All we will do is let you video this trick from an angle that'll show you how it's done. And I think Teller's found someone who knows how to use her cell phone. She's coming right up here. Wonderful. What's your name, please, ma'am?
Stephanie.
Stephanie. Right over here, please. Stephanie. Going to move you over on this side of me, if I may. And Stephanie, this is your cell phone right here. And do you have someone with you, Stephanie, that knows your cell phone number?
Yes.
And who's that, Stephanie?
That's my friend Emily over there.
Your friend Emily. Now, Emily, if you'd call Stephanie, please. I'm going to hold the phone up so we'll all hear the ringtone. And I'll answer this for you. This is Emily, is this right? Hello, Emily. What are you wearing? Emily, this is the number. Oh, bye. You're going to have you call twice more during this bit. So be ready for that, okay, Emily? Would you turn this into video mode and start the video rolling?
It's an iPhone. I saw it.
Is it rolling now? Is it rolling now?
Yeah.
Okay, let's give you a little thing to remember. Good evening, my name is Penn Teller, my partner Teller. We are Penn and Teller, and Fool Us is proud to present Stephanie. Yeah, give it up for her now. Oh, this is a beautiful video. You're gonna love this. Oh, you look at them. Look at that going crazy for you, Stephanie. Stephanie, strike the pose. Strike the pose. There you go. Oh, Stephanie.
Penn is such a great showman.
I would never have you on stage without giving you video of you with a very famous person. So you can pose here with Elton John. Actually, it's over here in England, so it's not just Elton John. It is Sir Elton John. Come over here, Stephanie, right over here, and just stand right next to Stephanie. Beautiful. There he is. There's the Sir. There's the Elton John. There's Stephanie, and there's our wonderful audience right there. Beautiful.
Right now I'm wondering what video quality was an iPhone 4S capable of recording in. I'm sure it wasn't 4K. Okay, enough about cell phones. Back to the video.
Beautiful. Stephanie, stand right on that double blue dot, please. There's a cup underneath your chair there. Could you give that to me, please? Yeah, we put this under before. This is well, you open it up yourself, Stephanie. That's an empty coffee cup. It's clean and dry there. I want you to know that because we're going to put your phone inside it. And when you're watching this back, Stephanie, at this point you'll still hear all the audio, but it's going to go all white, of course, because it's on the inside of the cup. Then it's going to go dark. So I'm putting this on. There's one little sip hole. I'll put this right on here, Stephanie, and make sure your phone is safely inside. Oh, sorry, Stephanie. And I'm a juggler too. That's the weird part. That's the right over here, Stephanie. Back up. We're going to put this right down here, Stephanie. And then just focus right on that, Stephanie. Focus on your phone that you saw in there. Focus on it. Think about it, and
That's so awesome.
You know, Stephanie, when I can't find my cell phone, what I usually do is I have my wife call it. And then everybody listens in for the ringtone. And if we all listen and all point to where the sound's coming from, we can usually then find the cell phone. And you'd be so surprised, Stephanie, the places we found my cell phone. Very, very unusual. Now, Emily, if you would please, call Stephanie's phone again and let's all listen. And if you hear where it's coming from, please point to it. If you hear it, point to it. Sounds like it's coming from right down there, that very well lit. Is that an empty seat right next to you there?
Yeah.
And what is on that seat?
A box that says do not touch.
A box that says do not touch. Has that box been there since you came into the theater?
Yeah, it has.
Okay, take the box, pick it up, would you please? The box is sealed shut, is that right?
Yeah.
Would you hand that box forward? Yeah, keep handing it front to this corner. And this woman right here in the corner, when the box comes to you, would you stand up and walk across the gap to Stephanie here? Now, Stephanie, come over here in the center of the stage here. Now, look at that box carefully. It's sealed shut, is that right? Would you open that box, please? Pull the tape off, and then lift the top off the box. Yeah, it shouldn't be. Just try it on this side. And just pull and lift the top off and tell us what's inside the box, Stephanie.
Ah, it's a fish.
A fish. Inside the box is a fish. And Stephanie, what kind of fish is that?
Smelly.
It's smelly, yes. And it's also tilapia, which is originally an African fish, but now aquafarmed all over. And I want you to use your nose, Stephanie, and make sure, you've already said this, but make sure that is indeed a real fish. Tell her we'll hold it up for you. Give that a whiff. Is that a real fish?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, even from there. Somebody hold this microphone right here, would you please? Hold it right to the fish's gills. Now, you're gonna hear a few things here. You're gonna hear the fish's head being cut off. Emily, call the phone again. Hear the fish's head being cut off. Call it, Emily. You're gonna hear the guts spilling out. Then from deep inside the bowels of the fish, you will hear, right from in there, from inside the fish, Stephanie. Is that your phone right there? Is that your phone right there?
Only slightly disgusting.
And is that your pictures on it? Is that everything there, Stephanie?
Oh, she touched it.
You need your phone? Are you sure, Stephanie? Now, Stephanie, as promised, Stephanie, you have a video on there that'll show you how the trick is done. Can you give us one promise? Don't watch that video till our show's over tonight. We do that? And you can clean your hands off, okay? So there's a little bit of fish guts on there. Thank you so much, Stephanie. That's Stephanie right there. That's Emily.
Ladies and gentlemen, the brilliant Penn and Teller.
Wow, that was a pretty good performance. You know, it really surprised me when Penn threw her phone so high into the air. You know, that's kind of a risk with someone else's property. But then again, Penn is a juggler. But on the other hand, I saw Teller kind of rushing to catch it with the bucket, you know? He had to cover some ground. Probably they practiced it a lot, so there's a very low chance of dropping it. And even if they did drop it, the show could pay for her to get a new one, I'm sure. A calculated risk. Anyways, that was really funny. And it was really funny when he stomped on it right in front of her. Oh, and by the way, I really like the misdirection he used where he popped the lid over into her hands, you know, while he threw it behind her and she was just bubbling it and trying to catch it. That was just perfect. It reminds me a lot of this other magic trick called paper balls over the head that is also really fun. Anyways, how did they get that phone into the fish? That's a good question. I could imagine two possible ways. One is that after it was raised up into the bucket, some stagehand ran into the audience and loaded it into that box. Maybe they even went under the stage and did it under the chair if there's access underneath the floor. That could have worked. Or the phone wasn't actually in the box, even though you heard it ringing, it could have been a different phone. They carried it up on stage, and when Teller was handling the box or when he dumped the fish out onto that platform, that table, then he had the phone under there and he was able to load it inside of the fish. Or he just held the fish up and pretended he was pulling it out of the fish, but really pulled the bag from behind the fish. That's kind of what I was thinking, except for the fact that this woman was standing just to Teller's left, and from her viewpoint, I think she would know if it was coming from just behind. I don't know. What do you think? Comment below. Anyways, I thought that was a great routine to establish who Penn and Teller are. They're doing great magic and they're making it funny and entertaining at the same time. Let's see what else we have before the first contestant.
Stephanie, that took guts, unfortunately, lots of fish guts. But can the great illusionists themselves be fooled? That's what we're here to find out this evening. It's also worth mentioning at this point that unlike any other TV magic show, there will be absolutely no camera tricks tonight. Everyone in the audience here and everyone at home will see exactly what happens with no trick edits, OK? And we do have our own magical guru in the gallery, a leading member of the American Magicians Union, to rule out in case of dispute. His word will be the final one, OK? So, just like on Eamon Holmes' dinner plate, the stakes are massive.
First off, I don't know who Eamon Holmes is. Maybe that's some restaurant in Britain. Second off, I believe the expert he's talking about behind the scenes is Michael Close. He's a magician who has always been behind the scenes of more recent seasons, and he acts as the final judge if there's a dispute between Penn and Teller and the contestant. So I guess that's who he's talking about there. And thirdly, he repeated again, no camera tricks, and he even said no tricky editing. I'm actually not entirely sure I believe that part, because I do believe on more recent seasons of Penn and Teller's Fool Us, I've seen some tricky edits. And in fact, I think there's a difference between camera tricks and tricky edits. Maybe I'll make a video about that later, separately. Let's see if there's anything else.
Oh, I'm back. The pressure is intense, and the big question is, can anyone fool Penn and Teller? Well, let's find out about our first contender.
All right, and then they proceed to show their first contender. I'll do that on a separate reaction video. For this video, I primarily just wanted to talk about the format of the show, what's different between then and now, and just watch with you this very first episode of Fool Us to see how it all began. For me, it's very interesting seeing this a different host because he brings a totally different style. There's a lot more focus on him delivering these comedy bits. And it's interesting to see they have the same core concept, the same branding and logo, the same music, different introduction. The stage is obviously different, but it still has the same color themes, this like blue and purple. I mean, you can see that right here on the 2019 season. It's pretty similar. But now I have a question. What did you think? Did you notice any other differences between the oldest season and the more recent ones? Have you been watching since season 1? I wasn't even really aware of the show's existence until a couple of years ago. So actually, I'm really excited about going through all the seasons and making videos for you guys here on YouTube. It's gonna be fun! I'm also kind of curious how much of what Penn said was true about wanting to have the feeling of being fooled again by other magicians as being like one of the core reasons for the show, or if that was just some like talking to justify the show. I think even without that, the whole concept of like magicians coming on to try to fool Penn and Teller, I think that's like enough of a hook. And what else? Well, I do think it's really interesting that it was originally a British television show and now it's an American television show. I'm sure that means you'll see a lot more American people in the audience on recent seasons, and perhaps in this first season we'll see a lot more British magicians compared to other recent seasons. I'm not sure. There's only one way to find out, and that's by clicking subscribe, smashing like, and continuing to watch these videos as I proceed forward, reacting through all the seasons of Penn & Teller's Fool Us. Leave a comment below. Guess how much time it will take me to get through all the episodes in all the seasons. To me, this seems like a lot of material. I'm guessing somewhere like 2 years. I'm not just going to do reaction videos. I also want to do magic tutorials and magic performances, so I'll be interleaving some of these together like that. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed watching this with me, this first episode of the first season, jumping all the way back to 2011 to see where it all began. For me, I think it's very interesting, and I hope you thought so as well. With that being said, I hope you're doing well, I hope you're having a great week, and I'll see you in the next video.